Discover the 7 mysterious biblical secrets that will transform your marriage forever. Few knew what truly happened that night in ancient Jerusalem. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows on the streets. A hush fell over the crowd as whispers of miracles danced through the air, electrifying each soul present. A wedding feast was more than mere celebration. It was a crucible of emotions and revelations, a space where secrets intertwined with dreams. Weaving through the hearts of those attending, in the midst of this festivity, the smell of sweet wine blended with freshly baked bread. But beneath the surface, darkness threatened to spill over. The hosts of the wedding, Mary and Joseph, faced a dilemma. They had run out of wine. Panic pulsed through the crowd. It was more than a social faux pas. It symbolized a rupture in joy. What could they do? Their reputation was on the line. Gasps echoed like thunderclaps, while eyes darted between them, searching for answers. Just then, another figure emerged. Jesus, a mere 30 years old, spoke with an ancient wisdom that silenced the murmurs. "Fill the jars with water," he instructed. Skeptical glances passed among the guests. Water? In a moment of desperation, did he not understand what was at stake? Yet, with trembling hands, the servants obeyed. They filled stone jars to the brim, heartbeats thrumming quick with tension. What happened next would echo through ages. As the first drops were poured, astonishment surged. The water transformed into rich, fragrant wine, abundant and exquisite. Guests rejoiced, their laughter ringing like bells. A miracle had unfolded before their very eyes, igniting hope in each heart. Yet, a haunting question loomed in the air. Why water? Why so unlikely a choice? And in that mystical moment, revelations hung heavy in the atmosphere. Could it be that the transformation symbolized something more profound about love, relationships, and the bonds that fuse two souls together? A question threaded its way into the hearts of all present. Would the whispers of that wedding night unravel deeper truths about their own unions? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. In the aftermath of the miracle, the air simmered with unspoken emotions. Laughter and joy mingled, creating a tapestry of celebration that was vibrant yet fragile. Guests swirled around the newly filled wine jars, their hearts uplifted, yet some lingered on the cusp of deeper introspection, drawn into the symphony of what they had just witnessed. The transformation of water into wine weighed heavily on their minds, a turning point that beckoned understanding beyond the surface. A question whispered amongst them. What did this miracle unveil about the nature of love? Among the crowd stood a woman, Anna. She had long carried the weight of disappointment in her marriage. The laughter around her magnified the hollowness she felt, her heart drifting back to moments lost and unspoken grievances. As she pondered, an elderly man named Eli approached her, his eyes gleaming with wisdom. "What do you see in this miracle?" he inquired gently, sensing the turmoil within her spirit. The question hung in the air, an invitation to delve deeper into her heart. Anna hesitated, then replied, "I see the joy that can fill empty places, but I also see how fragile it is, so quickly it can change." Eli nodded slowly, as if the weight of her words resonated with his own encounters throughout life. "Indeed," he said, leaning closer as shadows danced around them. "But perhaps, Anna, therein lies a greater truth. The water and wine represent potential and fulfillment. They remind us that even the most mundane things can transform into beauty. It requires faith and a willingness to embrace unseen possibilities." Her brows furrowed. "But what if the transformation is only temporary? What happens when joy runs dry again?" Eli chuckled softly. But therein is the mystery. The bond you share with your partner will always face tests, just as this celebration did. The secret lies not in the miracle itself, but in your willingness to seek transformation together, to recognize that love is a journey, sometimes requiring hope, when it feels the emptiest, as the night deepened, Anna felt a stirring within her, an awakening of possibilities she had long buried. But a concern flickered in the back of her mind, intertwining with Ella's words. Would she and her partner be brave enough to journey through their own empty spaces towards something more profound? Then, as the music swelled and the laughter echoed, Anna turned to see Jesus amidst the merriment, his presence radiating peace. He seemed to understand the quiet turmoil of the souls around him, offering something beyond the immediate joy and invitation to delve into the mysteries of their own hearts and relationships. With this thought lingering, Anna caught sight of her husband across the room, raising a toast, blissfully unaware of the doubts swirling within her. Would he, too, be willing to quench the thirst for deeper connection, or would they remain unfulfilled, longing for transformation that seemed just out of reach? As the moon cast its ethereal glow over the joyful gathering, another question emerged like a soft whisper in the depths of her heart. If water can become wine, what might love become when nurtured in the hands of trust and faith? The celebration continued beneath the luminous glow of the moon, casting shadows that danced rhythmically with the merriment. The pounding of feet upon the earth resonated like a heartbeat of the night, pulsating with life and vigor. Yet amidst the joy, Anna's heart remained tethered to the deeper questions ignited by Ella's words. As she observed the crowd, she noticed a small group assembled near the edges of the festivities, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Among them was a man named Simon, known for his sharp tongue and critical eye. He had a reputation for unearthing truths that many preferred to disregard. Anna felt an unexpected urge to approach him, compelled by the possibility that Simon might speak insight into her own wrestlings with faith and love. "Simon," she ventured cautiously, "what do you make of this miracle? Do you truly believe water can be transformed into wine?" He gave a wry smile, one that hinted at both amusement and disdain. "Ah, Anna, miracles are for the gullible or the hopeful. Wine or water, it makes little difference if one does not first seek the truth in their hearts." His words hung heavy, as if accusing those who dared to revel in something they did not understand. "And what is the truth?" Anna pressed, seeking to unravel the knot deepening within her. "Is it that we can never change? That love is forever bound by our limitations?" Simon's face became thoughtful, revealing a flicker of vulnerability beneath his hardened exterior. "Love is a mirror," he replied slowly, "reflecting both our brightness and our shadows. Perhaps it is not that we cannot change, but that we fear what we might uncover." Anna pondered his insight. A slow realization slithered through her: metamorphosis, not unlike water into wine, a deeper sense of self waiting to awaken. Yet, she remained apprehensive. Would she dare to confront the shadows of disappointment that clouded her view of love? Could she unveil her heart to both her husband and to herself? Across the gathering, Jesus moved with an ease that contrasted with the scrutiny Simon embodied. Anna's gaze followed him, captivated by his ability to bring warmth where there seemed to be division. As he engaged with the guests, she saw them lean in, drawn to him, as if he were a wellspring. She began to realize that the transformation of water into wine was not just a singular event, but a reflection of the continuous potential within each soul to cultivate beauty through faith, understanding, and renewal. "Tell me, Anna," Simon interrupted her thoughts, pulling her back to the present. "Do you believe in the power of faith beyond the surface? Can we push through the barriers we build around us?" His question lingered, begging for exploration, yet a part of her hesitated. This honesty, this vulnerability could either unite or unravel the delicate threads of her marriage. Did she possess the courage to share her internal struggles, or would she remain ensnared in uncertainty? As laughter echoed amidst the stars, Anna felt the weight of her own heart, intricately bound to her husband's. Could they share not just moments of joy, but also the deeper truths of their journey? What if, by embracing her own shadows and inviting him to do the same, love would take on a new form, richer and more complex than the wine that filled the jars? And as hope fluttered within her, she glanced toward Jesus again, who spoke softly to a young girl who appeared shy and uncertain. His words seemed to weave a spell of encouragement and vulnerability. In that moment, Anna felt the swell of a question poised at the edge of her spirit. If love is a reflection, how do we begin to reveal all the hues of our hearts? As the night continued to unfold, the atmosphere around Anna shimmered with a combination of laughter and whispered secrets. The warmth of camaraderie enveloped her, yet her heart lingered on the conversation with Simon. There was a profound curiosity stirring within her, an urge to delve deeper, to probe the very fabric of relationships and the nature of love itself. Nearby, she overheard snippets of laughter and the clinking of gobletsicos of voices that painted a vivid picture of joy and unity. Yet, hidden in the ebullience was an undercurrent of yearning. Anna turned her gaze back towards Simon, who was now deep in discussion with others. She noticed he had a way of dismantling facades, sifting through the cheerful exchanges to expose the desires and fears lying just beneath the surface. It intrigued her and frightened her in equal measure. Do you really think we must confront our shadows to experience true connection? Anna asked, motivated by an urge to unveil her thoughts. Afraid yet emboldened, Simon turned to her, his expression softening. Consider the wine, Anna. It's not only about its sweetness, but its depth, the craftsmanship beneath its surface. Just as each cup holds its own array of flavors, so do our hearts. To experience the fullness of love, we must be willing to explore the bitterness, the joy, the notes that linger in the soul. His words resonated deeply with Anna. She realized that her own marriage had thudded against the rocky shores of unexpressed fears and disappointments. What if her apprehension to reveal her heart was the very thing that prevented the growth of their love? The thought sent ripples of uncertainty through her mind. Across the gathering, Jesus paused in his conversations and seemed to sense the subtleties in the air. His eyes met Anna's, and in that moment, they seemed to speak volumes without uttering a single word. There was an invitation in his gaze, beckoning her towards courage, mirroring her own internal battles. She felt a pull, a recognition that facing the unspoken was both daunting and liberating. The music shifted as an elder began a song, one filled with echoes of hope and longing. The melody floated like a prayer, touching the hearts of all present. Anna felt an urgency rising within her, a desire to not just witness love, but to live it fully alongside her husband, to share the truths and the shadows alike. But could she take that leap? Would her husband, too, be willing to embrace such vulnerability? Tell me, Anna, Simon pressed gently, if love's richness lies hidden in our shadows, what are you afraid to uncover? What might be buried beneath your own heart? The question pierced through her, igniting a deeper contemplation. She felt as if she were standing before a great chasm, confronted by the immeasurable depth of what it could mean to truly share her soul. What if, within those shadows, resided not only fears but dreams yet to be discovered? As she grappled with her thoughts, Anna's eyes drifted back to Jesus, who now stood surrounded by a few children, sharing stories filled with laughter and wisdom. Watching him, she felt an embrace of hope. He seemed to embody the trust necessary for unveiling one's self, the very essence of love's transformative power. At that moment, under the watchful gaze of the moon and the harmonies of joy swirling about her, the question echoed anew within her. If the shadows hold the secret to deeper love, how might I begin to step into the light of vulnerability with my husband? And what mysteries shall we uncover together along the way? As the night deepened, a stillness settled over the gathering, and the reverberations of music slowly faded into soft murmurs. Anna clutched her goblet, tracing her fingers over the rim as thoughts cascaded through her mind. Each question marinated in her heart, stirring feelings she had kept closely guarded. In that sacred space, she felt the weight of unanswered longings as the stars twinkled above, a vast canvas of divine mystery. The flickering lanterns cast gentle shadows, and Anna stole another glance at Jesus. Surrounded by the laughter of children, he seemed to embody an innocent joy, the very essence of connection that transcended the burden of unvoiced fears. Just then, he turned, and his penetrating gaze settled upon her once more, filled with understanding as if he could sense the upheaval within her spirit. Anna, he called softly, his voice smooth and inviting. Why dost thou roam in the shadows of your heart? Why dost thou allow the whispers of fear to shackle the love that yearns to be free? The weight of his words bore down upon her. She felt drawn to walk towards him, though uncertainty gripped her. What could she possibly reveal? The tipping point of her courage balanced on the edge of vulnerability, where fears loomed large. But perhaps therein lay the profound secret of love, the willingness to bare oneself even in the face of discomfort. As she approached, the children giggled, their innocence making her heart ache in a way she hadn't anticipated. At that moment, she understood. Children do not fear the shadow. They dance with it, unyielding, through raw sincerity. They share everything: joy, sorrow, and their unfiltered selves. Lord, she began, her voice a mere whisper, trembling yet radiant with intent. What if my heart harbors unresolved wounds, remnants of sorrow that I cannot bear to share? What if my desire for deeper love is outweighed by the fear of rejection? Jesus listened, his eyes brimming with compassion. Your heart is not forsaken, Anna. It is a vessel meant to hold both light and darkness. But let not fear dictate your path. It's the unveiling of your true self that will offer the greatest gift, not just to your husband, but to your own spirit. A breath caught in her throat as introspection deepened. What if she truly allowed herself to be known? Would her husband welcome all the facets of her being, or would it drive them apart? The dichotomy of desire fought with the clenching of apprehension. She could feel a swell of yearning to embrace not just her shadows, but also the depths of her joy, the dreams waiting patiently for their unveiling. And yet, Anna sensed an omniscient presence swirling around her, an invitation from the divine to step into a realm of trust and vulnerability. What if she confronted her shadows not as an act of despair, but as an offering of love? Could her raw truth become a bridge rather than a barrier? As thoughts spiraled inward, Jesus continued, imagine, dear Anna, the beauty of growth when two hearts become a tapestry woven from both light and dark, joy and sorrow. It is in the honesty of love where transformation takes root. With those words, the yearning within Anna soared. What if openness was not a burden, but a sacred alliance? Quickened whispers danced in her chest, igniting courage. Could she engage with her husband not as a stranger, but as a partner in unfolding vulnerability? The realization glimmered, but the path remained shrouded in uncertainty. As the gathering swelled with life once more, she felt a strong pull back towards Simon, whose laughter twinkled through the night, yet she hesitated. With every heartbeat, the question pressed. Was it indeed a leap of faith she needed to take? If she dared to step into the light of vulnerability, would it illuminate the true essence of love that lay dormant within their marriage? What beautiful mysteries awaited on the other side of fear? The moon hung like a pendant in the sky, casting a silvery glow upon the earth. Anna took a step back, allowing the quiet hum of the gathering to envelop her as she contemplated the wellspring of emotions bubbling beneath the surface of her heart. The laughter of the children faded into the background, and for a moment, all she could hear was the thundering pulse of her thoughts. As she wrestled with the question that lodged itself in her mind, could she unveil the hidden corners of her heart? A gentle breeze rustled the silk curtains draped around the gathering space. In that ethereal wind, she felt a presence outside of herself, a whisper of assurance that nudged her forward even amid apprehension. Anna, came the voice of Jesus once more, soothing as the dawn, drawing her attention away from the whirlpool of doubt. Know this, every heart yearns for connection, and to strip away the layers of self-protection is to invite the truest form of intimacy. It is in the revelation of each other that you both shall find yourselves anew. With his words, a stirring sense of curiosity danced within her. Could the act of exposing her innermost fears actually lead to a stronger bond? Perhaps love was less about an idealized perfection and more about vulnerability, shared in sacred trust. But even as hope glimmered on the horizon, regrets began to surface, entangling her heart like thorny vines. Past pains writhed beneath her skin, mocking the possibility of a brighter connection. Can trust be rebuilt, Lord? Can the scars of yesterday's sorrows fade? The query slipped from her lips before she could hold it back, and she watched as Jesus pondered her words with kindness. Dear Anna, the journey of healing begins not in erasure, but in acceptance of what was and hope for what shall be. Just as the dawn breaks after the longest night, so too can trust emerge from the ashes of hurt. Every encounter holds the potential for rebirth. It merely requires the courage to step forward, he replied, his voice echoing like a soothing balm over her wounds. The weight of their conversation reverberated in her heart, pushing her to weave together the fibers of longing and fear. What if her husband Simon, too, grappled with pestering shadows of his own? Could there be glimpses of shared vulnerability, waiting among moments of laughter and light? The unseen tapestry of their lives spun steadily around them, interlacing their experiences in ways yet to be discovered. As the gathering thickened with laughter and the melodies of song, Anna felt the pull of the moment. What if she initiated this transformation they both needed? The thought awakened a flicker of bravery, the idea that perhaps, in making themselves known, they could rediscover their love anew. Yet, as a shroud of vulnerability fell gently over her heart, new fears crept in. What if Simon rejected the parts of her that had stayed hidden for so long? The questions unfurled endlessly, yet they were tinged with potential. What if, in the act of baring herself, she revealed not just her fears and flaws, but also the depths of her love and the beauty of her hopes? Inhaling deeply, she steadied herself, choosing to anchor in the promise of connection rather than the scales that tipped toward fear. It was time to weave the threads of her heart openly. She was ready to invite Simon into this shared song of their souls, a melody that harmonized with both joy and sorrow. As her gaze searched the crowd for Simon, the glow of the lanterns illuminated another truth: that love was neither a single moment nor an isolated feeling, but a journey carved through time, a continuous dance of faith even amidst uncertainty. What intricate mysteries awaited them on this path of unveiling their true selves? Would their hearts resonate in the frequencies of sincere vulnerability, or would they falter beneath the shadow of fear? The night wore on, unfurling its tapestry of stars like a blessing from the heavens. Anna's heart beat steadily as she navigated through the thrumming crowd, her eyes scanning for Simon. Each face she glimpsed was a mirror reflecting both joy and struggle. But what captured her attention most was the profound silence nestled within the lively Chattera silence that echoed with the depth of every unspoken word. In a secluded corner, she spotted him, laughter pulling at the corners of his mouth as he engaged with their friends. Yet to Anna, it felt as if an invisible barrier separated them, laced with unshared burdens and unanswered questions. Simon's features shone with warmth, yet short glimpses of melancholy flickered across his face, hinting at a story untold. His laughter seemed vibrant, yet beneath it lay an ocean of apprehension, much like the one roiling in her own heart. Why do we hold back? Anna wondered softly, grief weaving its way into her thoughts. Her experiences whispered of the pain and vulnerability, but also of the sweetness found in honesty. She recalled the teachings of Jesus about the intimacy that blooms in the tending of scars and the importance of being known. Perhaps that is the secret, she mused, her heart fluttering with renewed resolve. Within every imperfection, there was a flicker of divinity, threading together the pain of past experiences into the tapestry of love. As she drew closer to Simon, her hands trembled, burdened with the weight of her unexpressed feelings, yet also charged with the electricity of something transformative waiting to ignite. Simon, she called gently, her voice weaving through the laughter, seeking his attention and anchoring the moment. He turned, his eyes meeting hers with a mix of surprise and wonder, stirring a shared recognition, the unyielding bond that had wrapped itself around them through years of joy and sorrow. The laughter of the gathering faded into the background as an unspoken promise lingered in the air. In that brief silence, Anna swayed upon the precipice of uncertainty. Could it be, she thought, that in voicing our shadows aloud, we would find the ultimate light? Can we step away for a moment? Anna asked, her heart racing. The question slipped from her lips like a prayer, laden with hope. With a nod of agreement, Simon followed her to a quieter space, the laughter and music fading to a distant hum. The soft glow of the moon illuminated their faces, a watchful witness to this pivotal moment. Anna's mind raced, grappling with the contours of revelation, a truth that could either shatter or bind them together. Simon, she began, her voice trembling yet steady, I've been thinking about us, about trust and love. Each word was a handmade vessel, carrying her vulnerability across the threshold of his heart. I have my fears, and I know you must have yours too. We've both weathered storms, and somewhere amidst everything, we've built walls to shield ourselves. She paused, searching his eyes for a glimmer, a flicker of understanding as her heart beat erratically in her chest. I want to know you deeper, to journey together not in hiding, but in being wholly ourselves. Can we share the parts of us that fear the light? Simon remained silent, absorbing her words as though they held the weight of the universe. The shadows beneath his eyes deepened fragments of pain mired in memories that spoke of love lost and love regained, of moments that had fled like smoke in the wind. Anna, he replied slowly, opening a window to his heart. For so long, I thought my fears were mine to bear. I didn't want them to cloud our joy or taint what we had built together. But they still linger beneath the surface. I, too, wonder if revealing my true self is a risk worth taking. His admission hung between them, a delicate thread woven into the fabric of that sacred moment. Quiet reflection enveloped them both, filled with a yearning for connection, yet marred by the vulnerability that could unravel everything. Anna's heart swelled as she recognized that vulnerability could be a bridge rather than a chasm. What if, she proposed tentatively, we take turns sharing our fears and hopes, just a little at a time? In doing so, we can rewrite our story together, resolve our struggles in truth, and perhaps uncover deeper layers of love. The silence deepened, thick with possibility and unspoken fears. Simon tilted his head and placed a hand on Anna's, an uncharacteristic gesture that spoke louder than any words could convey. In his eyes lay the echo of a man wrestling with the shadows of uncertainty, but yearning to embrace the warmth of light. As they stood there, a question loomed in the space between them. What lies hidden in the shadows of their hearts, just waiting to be seen and understood? Could this small step toward truth lead them to a fuller grasp of their love, or would it ignite past pains instead? The night leaned heavily into dawn, hues of orange and purple bleeding into the horizon as Anna and Simon lingered at the threshold of their unveiling. A breeze danced through the air, whispering promises of clarity, yet their hearts remained enwrapped in the weight of unshared burdens. Anna, Simon murmured, his voice both hesitant and resolute. What if our fears are just shadows of what we once knew? Perhaps they are echoes of the past, refusing to fade in the light of all we've built. He shifted uneasily, looking toward the horizon where the first rays of sunlight began to touch the earth. What if revealing those shadows only reopens old wounds? Anna's breath caught in her throat, each word resonating with a truth she could not deny. Much like the townspeople who had walked their paths in turbulent times, both she and Simon were products of their histories, shaped by joys and melancholies alike. Yet, in her heart, there rang a deeper Kala promise, echoed in the sacred texts, that healing was rooted in honesty and vulnerability. We may falter, she replied, grounding her heart in the resonance of their shared experiences, but even in faltering, there lies a chance for healing. Was not David, a man after God's own heart, marked by his sins yet known for his bravery and penance? We, too, can weave our fears into something greater, a tapestry that reframes our story in light. With each breath drawn in the stillness of dawn, the sun continued its ascent, casting warmth across Anna's face, which mirrored the warmth within her soul. She sensed the essence of hope, a thread delicately intertwining with their fears, beckoning both of them to step forward into the light. Simon's brow furrowed in contemplation. You speak of bravery as if it is inherent, but I feel so fragile. Every revelation could break us or mend us. What if the journey leads us to places we are not ready to confront? Fragility, Simon, is part of the journey, much like the Israelites wandering through the wilderness. They tread on paths laden with uncertainty, mere echoes of their past. Yet they were led to the promised land, transformed through every trial, every doubt. Anna paused, letting the stories of old interlace with their present. What lies ahead may seem daunting, but together, we carry the promise of the land beyond. As the last remnants of night melted away, Simon shifted his focus from the horizon back to Anna. Deep within his gaze appeared an ember of determination, igniting with the fire forged in the conversations of heart and spirit. If we walk this path, we must promise to hold each other as we navigate the light and darkness intertwined. Her heart flared at his commitment, and before her thoughts could dwell in doubt, she offered, I promise. And as each layer falls away, We will discover not just who we are as individuals, but who we become together in this quest. Just then, an unlikely presence interrupted their momentous young child. Perhaps a shepherd from the neighboring hills appeared, chasing a flickering butterfly that danced just out of reach. The innocence in the child's laughter stirred something within Anna's heart, a reminder of untainted joy amidst the complexities of adulthood. "Look how carefree the child is," Anna whispered, her voice barely breaking the gentle silence. "What might we learn from such simplicity? Do we dare to dance like that child, to embrace joy even amidst fear?" Simon watched as the child stumbled and laughed, rising again without a trace of the fall lingering in his heart. His gaze softened, and a flicker of understanding sparked. Perhaps to embrace the light is to learn not just from bravery, but also from the purity of joy as we tread carefully through our fears. In that moment, the air shimmered with possibility, charged with an unspoken challenge to view their journey through fresh eyes, to live not just in the shadows of their pasts, but to channel that very history into the vibrancy of their shared future. Amidst the newfound clarity, the question still loomed. How might their unfolding story illuminate those dark corners of fear they were reluctant to explore? Were they ready to confront the depths of their hearts, or would they find themselves ensnared in the very shadows they sought to name? As Anna and Simon stood on the cusp of revelation, the horizon's warmth carried with it the promise of hope, yet shadows lay thickly woven in the threads of their lives, obscuring the fullness of what they might become. The morning breeze swelled, teasing their thoughts into a deeper contemplation, as the incessant laughter of the child nearby echoed in the stillness. "Look," Anna said, gesturing gently towards the child. "Perhaps joy beckons us not to abandon our burdens, but to carry them with grace, much like the way the butterfly dances with the wind." Her voice, soft yet firm, urged Simon to see past the weight they bore. Simon observed the child, his heart unknitting slowly from the rigid grasp of fear. It's as though there's a sacred rhythm in that dance, a reminder that life is not merely a sequence of struggles, but can flourish in the moments of light. He pondered, then turned towards Anna. What if this is the key? To not only face our fears, but to allow joy to navigate us through them. As the boy caught the butterfly in his small hands, a moment of triumph shimmered in his eyes, mirroring a deeper truth. Anna felt an untapped well of possibility swell within her. The essence of faith often invites us to dance with the unknown, doesn't it? Just as the disciples kept afloat amidst the waves, fear turns to faith when we let go of our stranglehold on certainty. Now filled with the urgency of hope, Simon nodded. "Yes, yet I wonder about the fragility of what we are trying to uncover. Every secret unspooled is a risk weaving our fabric closer, but what if the seams unravel instead?" A hush enveloped them, and the child reached out, releasing the butterfly. It fluttered away, seeking the skies with no hint of fear of falling, reminding Anna and Simon that beauty often lay in the act of letting go. "Maybe our own shadows have their lessons to impart as well," Anna said, her voice drifting into contemplation. "The stories buried in those wounds could be the breadcrumbs leading us toward reconciliation with ourselves. Like the prodigal son, returning not with shame, but with the purpose of belonging. And like the parable of the lost sheep, are we not encouraged to venture forth in search of what has been lost within us?" Simon mused, the gravity of the conversation washing over him. Could our pasts, laden with regrets, serve as a means of finding ourselves anew, rather than a prison to confine us? As they stood together, the dawn's light unfurling across the landscape, Anna felt her spirit rise. "But Simon," she replied, "this brings a stirring challenge. What if confronting those shadows reveals not redemption, but deeper complexity? The act of sharing our burdens could expose us to painful truths we are yet unprepared to face." The child now danced around them, laughter spilling like water from a spring, blissfully oblivious to the gravity of adult worries. Simon glanced once more, renewed by the child's unyielding joy. "How astounding that this moment of innocence juxtaposes our looming fears," he said. "It beckons the question of simplicity, the choice to embrace joy amidst all that weighs us down. Can such a choice breathe life into the chambers hidden away in our hearts?" Anna heard the weight of his reflections echoing within her own, and yet a new thought emerged. "Perhaps, Simon, That very choice, stepping into joy even while acknowledges our shadows, is a testament of faith. Might we consider that every act of vulnerability is not inherently perilous? Instead, could it serve as an invitation to fortify our souls? Their eyes locked, and a shared understanding flickered between them. The dawn brightened into a day filled with the unknown, and yet, within the uncertainty lay the seeds of discovery. Yet, as they savored this burgeoning clarity, a weight settled in Anna's heart, a question left unanswered. What if, amid the joy and faith they extended towards each other, the shadows they dared to confront were far more profound than they could ever anticipate? Would this journey of unveiling bind them closer together, or fracture what lay at the core of their hearts? As the morning sun broke through the horizon, bathing the world in resplendent light, the festivities of the wedding feast echoed through the quiet corners of their hearts, now heavy with revelation and potential. Anna and Simon, standing together beneath the expansive sky, felt the weight of their journey morphing before them, past hurts colliding with the promise of new beginnings, a delicate interplay woven through the fabric of their love. With each heartbeat, hope danced in their spirits, entwined with the threads of vulnerability that stretched between them like silken strands glistening in the morning light. Anna, her heart full yet trembling, turned to Simon. We have walked a long road, laden with unspoken burdens. What if this moment is not merely about grappling with shadows, but inviting the light to illuminate our truth? Simon inhaled deeply, his mind racing through the echoes of fears and unshared dreams swirling around them. And if we forge our path together, we may find that love is not merely a gentle embrace, but a communion of soul's pilgrimage through every facet of ourselves.